Namaste. Usually, I have found that there are three types of people. The first type is which is inclined towards Rahu, meaning they are extroverts, over ambitious, always focused on the outside, and very much driven by their temptations. They fall very easily for their temptations, and later they suffer is a different story. The second type is those who are inclined towards Ketu. These men and women are focused within. So obviously they have much higher level of understanding. I always give importance to the depth of understanding rather than knowledge. You will gather knowledge, but if you don't have the depth of understanding, then you just remain a robot, like a computer, which has all the knowledge, information. So the second type is the type of Ketu, Ketu-ish. The first type is the Rahu-ish. And then there is a third type, which are neither Rahu-ish and neither Ketu-ish. They are in between. They are not yet decided. Their chart is neither totally inclining towards Rahu and is not even inclining towards Ketu. It is in between. It is still yet to decide. The soul hasn't yet decided. So these kind of people are the people who become easy victims. They are the ones who get lost very easily because they are neither towards Rahu, neither towards Ketu. They are in between. These kind of people at some stage of their birth need to take a call whether they want to walk on the path of Rahu or on the path of Ketu. And let me tell you, this has the major population. The majority of the population of this human world falls in this category, which is neither on the Rahu side, neither on the Ketu side. It is mediocre. It is in between. And so it is necessary that these people, to help these people find the answer that on which side they want to walk, Rahu or Ketu, this podcast can help. Because in this podcast, I have shared about Ketu as well as Rahu from a spiritual perspective. Very few can resonate with this podcast. But if you resonate, then I am certain that you are on the right track and you will be able to decide whether you want to go towards Rahu or Ketu. Nobody is interested in Ketu because Ketu is always on the back, on the back seat. Nobody is interested in Diogenes, but everybody knows Alexander the Great. And when Alexander comes to meet Diogenes, Diogenes says to Alexander, "Come and relax with me." But Alexander says, "I cannot come. I have to conquer the whole world." And once I conquer the whole world, then I will come back. And Diogenes says, nobody comes back. And this is how we have so many Alexanders in this world who are just running and running and running. And they all have the same answer, that yes, I will come back, I will relax, but when all my desires are fulfilled. And the irony is that desires always keep coming. When one desire is fulfilled, another desire comes. You are always standing in the queue of desires. You see? So, in this podcast, I have shared the most significant solution to overcome all these trends of Rahu, all these temptations of Rahu. And as I always say, that nobody knows Ketu. Nobody is interested in Ketu. But those who are on the real path. So let's begin. The energy of Ketu helps in fructifying the mantra. Every mantra is powerful. Every mantra helps you to move beyond the mind. Every mantra helps you to turn inwards and meditate. The real question is how deeply, faithfully you recite the mantra provided to you by your Guru. The greater the devotion, the greater is the showering of His grace upon you, and then there is no looking back. The sky, that is the consciousness, is clear, and you are ready to fly. Death is necessary for you to get enlightened with the truth. This death that I am referring to is the death of the mind, because it is the mind that goes on creating many miseries, and as long as you continue to follow your mind, you will continue to face many miseries in your life. Rule your mind, else the mind will rule over you, and then you will be in a deep mess, says the Buddha. Jesus says to Nicodemus, to experience the ultimate truth, to experience God, you have to reborn. To be reborn, one has to die first. When Jesus indirectly refers to death, it is the death of all that you have been carrying all along within your mind. It is, in short, the death of the mind and not of your physical body. Ketu has the capability and the potential to bring death to the mind, so that you move on to the state of no mind. But how it happens? How can it happen? What is the way by which we can make it happen? And the answer is meditating by chanting the holy mantra. Mantra consists of certain letters that create a specific sound vibration within your being. And the more you recite with love and faith, the more these positive sound vibrations heal you inside out. And it is only when you can heal yourself that you can heal others. It is the energy of Ketu that helps you recite and fructify the mantra. This mantra then acts as a healing medicine for removing all the illusions of the mind and slowly helps you to move beyond the mind. Chanting of mantra is therefore the most effective key in this Kali Yuga to overcome the monkey mind and find the many answers that you seek, the peace, the bliss, the joy, and the eternal happiness that you seek. Mantra is the most effective medium, a beautiful bridge that can help you and everybody to walk beyond mind and experience the bliss within. Every mantra is a powerful mantra only if you recite it with deep faith and love. The Bhagavan beautifully explains the immense importance and significance of mantra, which in simple words is a specific positive devoted thought. Bhagavan Raman Maharshi quotes, meditation is sticking to one thought. That single thought keeps away other thoughts. Distraction of mind is a sign of its weakness. By constant meditation, it gains strength. That is to say, its weakness of thought gives place to the enduring background free from thoughts. The mind is a traffic of thoughts, and to break this traffic jam and find a way beyond, only one vehicle can help, and that is your mantra. One thought, the thought of the Holy Lord, can keep away all the other thoughts. The real question is how deeply you can concentrate on this one thought, the thought of Krishna, the thought of the Holy Lord. Mantra is basically the medicine to finish the monkey mind and merge it with the heart. And once the heart starts vibrating, once the knock on your heart goes deeper and deeper, then one fine day the doors open up and you are in for the most wonderful experiences of your spiritual journey. But it all starts from the medicine that is called the mantra. And with deep respect and love, I salute and prostrate before all the divine masters who have spent their whole life in sharing the immense significance of mantra, the name of the Holy Lord. One of them that I closely can relate to is His Holiness Gondavlekar Maharaj, the divine holy master who not only did many miracles but also shared the fact that reciting mantra in itself is one of the greatest steps towards living a life of miracles. Today, if you all visit his Samadhi Mandir, which is located in a village called Gondavle near Satara, you will be surprised to see that every devotee who comes is engrossed in chanting the mantra of Sri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram, Sri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram, Sri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. The mind can be controlled when you continue to focus on chanting the holy name of the Lord with utmost devotion and unwavering faith and love. In this universe, there is no such sin that can sustain before the name of the Lord. In today's age, without giving a form to the ultimate truth, we cannot realize the self. Lord's name gives the truth its form. Therefore, always meditate on the Lord's holy name. Quotes Sri Gondhavlekar Maharaj. Wherever you go, always remain engrossed deeply in the name of the Lord. Even if you take the name of the Lord out of compulsion, it is okay. If you take the name of the Lord with pure devotion, it is good. And if you take the name of the Lord by maintaining a positive attitude, then it is best for your self-growth, says His Holiness Gondhavlekar Maharaj. I remember that when I had visited His Holiness Gondhavlekar Maharaj Samadhi Mandir, there were many devotees with their japamala and chanting silently. And amongst them was a very poor man. He must be very poor, but in his hand also was a very long japamala, and he was doing his bit by focusing on chanting the Lord's holy name. And I said to myself, what a great revolution the Master has brought. Just through his avatar, he has and he still is motivating and inspiring so many of them, especially the weakest section of the society, to chant the holy mantra and experience the beautiful transformation within. I salute to his great work. May his grace be on all of us. The second name that instantly comes to me is that of His Holiness Srila Prabhupada, the modern age Masiha, who spent his whole life in making people realize the immense significance of chanting the holy mantra. Srila Prabhupada quotes, "This chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra is enacted from the spiritual platform, and thus this sound vibration surpasses all lower strata of consciousness, namely sensual, mental and intellectual. Today the world is a better place to live only because a major portion of the majority has been guided and made to realize the immense significance of chanting the mantra. And His Holiness Srila Prabhupada contributed immense efforts to make this happen. I humbly prostrate before His Holiness Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. You should chant Hare Krishna every day and read books, and in this way you will make advancements in Krishna consciousness. We have to understand that I am not this body, but part and parcel of the Supreme Lord Krishna, says Srila Prabhupada. Now let us see how the chanting of mantra helps one to overcome the most difficult situations of life. One has to understand the fact everything operates at the Sukshma, Sabal level, but the results are derived at the physical level. Every human being's Sukshma body, that is the Sabal body, goes on taking birth in physical form. The root is in the Sabal state, the Sukshma state. The Sabal body or the Sukshma body is the casual body. It is the body that takes on the new physical body. You see many light bulbs around here. The electricity is one, that energy is one, but it is manifesting through different bulbs. The bulb have different bodies, but their soul is one. Similarly, the consciousness manifesting through us is one, but in the manifestation of this consciousness, two vehicles are applied. One is the Sabal vehicle, the Sabal body, that is the Sukshma body, and the other is the gross vehicle, that is the gross physical body. The Sabal Sukshma body is of great significance. Mantra impacts and nurtures the Sabal body. The more you recite, the more subtle body gets nurtured. And it is only when the subtle body is empowered that you operate efficiently and consciously at the physical body level. Understand the fact that even if death comes, still only the physical body is going to die. The subtle body remains. The soul is still not liberated. It dwells in the subtle body, in the Sukshma body. When you focus on chanting the Krishna mantra or any positive healing mantra, the level of your consciousness expands, making the subtle body more active. It is through the subtle body that you can then do many wonders, many miracles. The subtle body is at the very root of your existence, of human existence. People fall sick when the subtle body is disturbed, when the Sukshma body is disturbed. Your thoughts are constantly impacting the subtle body. Understand this. Every time you think negative for others, for yourself, you are lowering the quality of your subtle body. You are paving a path for more miseries. That is why all these negative men and women who continue to hurt me by commenting offensively on this forum, these people are degrading themselves. They are creating a new cycle of miseries for themselves. And that is why I always say, think twice before you say anything negative or offensive to others. Yesterday Mohan came and said, my friend is losing badly on his vitamins. He is young and still a doctor says he has very low vitamins. Now he is suggested for regular injections of vitamins. Injections can supply vitamins and you will feel good. But the larger question is, why such things happen? There are cases where the man is taking all nutritious diet and yet he loses vitamins or vitamins. Why such things happen? Because of your negative thinking, because of your tamas guna, because of your aggressive attitude. All that is negative within you, all that creates a lot of noise within your mind, sucks the vital vitamins out of your body. And then you wonder, what is wrong with me? There is nothing wrong with you. What is wrong is your way of living that you are not willing to change, and that actually affects the subtle body, the Sukshma body, paving a guaranteed path for many miseries for your physical body. This physical body will live someday. Someday I will die, but my subtle body will remain. Someday you will die, but your subtle body remains. Then it waits for the next birth. That birth, nobody knows whether it is of a human or of a reptile or of a bird or of an animal. That is not in your hand. But what is in your hand is reciting the mantra and empowering your subtle body, your Sukshma body, which can thereby help you to overcome the miseries caused by your own past karma, which is signified by Shani and Rahu. Rahu Shani also represent the evil energies that first attack your subtle body. These evil energies can be in the form of black magic, spirits and ghosts. When you focus on chanting Hare Krishna or any healing mantra, the subtle body gets strength to defend itself. Chanting is the most powerful tonic that can help you sustain the many unseen attacks from the astral world. One can be free from all sinful reactions after reaching a place of pilgrimage. But one can have the same benefit at home or at any place simply by chanting the holy name of the Lord, quotes Srila Prabhupada of ISKCON. Shani signify past karmic dues and responsibilities in this life. Rahu signify desires to be fulfilled in this life. Now this conjunction of Shani Rahu is one of the unholy conjunctions, and I have been stating this all along. Why? Because Shani, karma, karmic dues, responsibility is impacted by desires. Rahu brings so much of temptations. Yes, that is the word. Temptations that the otherwise sincere, obedient, honest woman starts crossing the boundaries of traditions, morality, values, and then it becomes messy, very messy. It is a placement where too much desire, obsession, force the otherwise very moral, very honest Saturn to slip, to fall from the grace. If there is absolutely no positive aspect or support to this aspect, then life indeed becomes a circle of miseries that goes on and on and on. Reciting the Krishna mantra somehow blocks the dominating Rahu and lets Shani take over. Then the person starts feeling better. Then there is a song to it. Then life can change for good. Then transformation is possible. Rahu may bring temptations to you. It may bring forth a beautiful, sexy woman. And then if there is absolutely no chanting happening in your life, then the same woman becomes Rahu and ensures that your life becomes miserable. This Rahu may bring temptations to you. It may bring the greediness to have more and more and more money, and then you go on like an out of control horse, and then someday crash so badly that you start thinking if there is a way to stand up again. But a man, a woman who chants the Krishna mantra or any positive mantra can control the monkey mind. He can stop the mind from falling for a woman who has absolutely no values, no ethics, no principles, but only a sensual, sexy body. Such a man can help himself by taming the mind and preventing it from being a victim of greed and lust. You understand? That is the beauty, the whole beauty of mantra. But who wants to listen? People are more interested in manipulating things. They will go to black magicians and ask them to do this and to do that. Now the greatest joke is that neither the man who commands knows what is good for him, and neither the black magician is bothered to understand what is good for the man. He is only concerned with money. For him, money is good enough. You think that by manipulating you can benefit, but you don't know if this benefit that you see is going to be a boon or a curse. And that is why the great spiritual master Neem Karoli Baba says it is very difficult to know exactly what good should come out of a particular situation. To attempt to manipulate circumstances so that your idea of good can come about is to let the ego play God, and that, as you know, can and does backfire. I have been telling my whole life, do not try to manipulate the happenings of your life. Do not try to interfere with the flow of your life. But people, the majority is ruled by the mind, and the mind cannot wait. The mind has absolutely no patience. The mind has absolutely no faith the mind is mechanical, and Sai Baba therefore has always emphasized on practicing faith and patience, Shraddha or Saburi, because the master is perfectly aware that the mind is never willing to be patient. The mind is mechanical. So man is mechanically efficient but with no awareness. And that is the greatest irony of humans. But a yogi has gone beyond mind. He can relate to the voice of the higher realms of consciousness. He can communicate with God because he has self-realized that God is not on the outside. God is within. Remember, the guest is within you, but you have to turn inwards. You are too focused on the outside and on the futile. You are leaning on your scriptures, reading and thinking that by knowing more and more of the scriptures, you will become enlightened. You will only become burdened with knowledge, and knowledge is noisy. Truth is to be found only in silence. When you are deeply meditating, turning inwards, look into your own body. He is there. Your body is the temple. He has already chosen it. He abides there. Turn in. Turn in, just 2 words, and you all have to remember these 2 words. Samasti. The last word of Buddha was Samasti, which means remember. Just remember to turn inwards and go back to your source again and again. Whenever you feel lost, whenever you feel low, remember to turn in. The reciting of mantra helps you to turn in. It is not that only through the mantra that you can turn in, but through the mantra you all can turn in much easily and much quickly than otherwise. So Srila Prabhupada emphasizes on the significance of reciting the mantra. Sai Baba, Meher Baba, Gondavlekar Maharaj, Sant Jnaneshwar Maharaj, Guru Nanak, Tukaram Maharaj, Neem Karoli Baba, the divine masters have always emphasized on the significance of chanting mantra. When you chant mantra, chant consciously. Do not make it a habit, because all habits are robotic in nature. There is absolutely no consciousness to the actions that become a habit. When you chant, chant with awareness by focusing on every word and by remembering the Holy Lord whose name you chant. Let there be love, let there be devotion, let there be a dance, and whenever you chant, let there be a sense that the chanting is also happening through Him, through His grace, and you are just a medium. The doer is the Lord, the compassionate, benevolent Master. It is a long journey, and people have many fancy ideas about chanting, as if they start chanting today and miracles start happening the next day. Even a child takes 9 months to take birth. Patience is the key, faith is the source. Shraddha or Saburi. Whatever you do, do it with faith, Shraddha, and patience, Saburi. I always like those things that take time, because the one that takes time is bound to be far more beautiful, more stronger, and more reliable than something that is happening faster. There was a young man, his name was Rahim, and Rahim was one of the most faithful men of the town. But somehow he felt restless. Something was missing from his life. Everything was there. All the pleasures and riches were at his command. But something was missing. And it was missing badly, very badly. What was it? And Rahim realized it was the absence of the master. So Rahim decided to go in search of the master. He must be like our Mohan. He just wasn't ready to stay any longer in his place. One dark night, he slipped out in the jungles, never ever to be seen again. The journey was difficult because Rahim had always been pampered with all the pleasures that a man can think of. But Rahim continued. His feet started bleeding. There were many thorns on the way, but a man who is fired up with a higher purpose never stops. His journey continues. After many days, Rahim reached a village where a great Sufi saint lived. But the Sufi was a very strange man. He would never talk, never meet anybody. He remained in his own bliss. Even if you had to talk to him, you had to stay a few feet away from him, else he might just pick up a stone and throw at you. It is a different story that if you got hurt, the very next moment by his miracle, you may also get healed. But this old man was something, and the whole village loved him, worshipped him, but nobody would dare to go near him, else they knew the stone was always ready. Rahim reached and the villagers warned him. They said, "There is a Sufi saint in our village, but he is a very strange man. For us, he is our God, but we again warn you, he is a very strange man." Rahim had lost all his body weight. He had become fragile, but still he decided to meet the Sufi saint. Rahim went, and the Sufi saint shouted back, "You idiot! Why have you come? Go back! Go back to your palace!" Rahim said, "I have come not to disturb you, but just give me some message. Give me some direction. That is all I need. That is all that I pray for at your feet. I can find the answer. Show me the way. Show me the answer." And the Sufi saint said, "Take the name of Allah. Day and night take his name, and now never come back again. Leave now." Rahim never came back again. But whenever his disciples would ask, "Who is your master?" his eyes would fill with tears. He would start crying, and then he would go back to his abode. 40 years went by, but still the fond memory of the master, the Sufi saint, remained within his heart. Just one message the master had given. Just one. Take the name of Allah, the name of the Lord. Chant his name. And Rahim, from that moment, never ever missed to chant the name of the Lord. He moved from that village. There was nothing that he could carry with him. There was no photo of the master, no piece of the master that he could keep with himself. Nothing, absolutely nothing was given to him except one message. Chant the name of Allah, the Holy Lord. And that one message was everything, everything for Rahim. He took it so deeply into his whole being that for the next 40 years he would simply meditate on the Lord's holy name by chanting his holy name. In these 40 years, Rahim became a master of many miracles. Many disciples followed him. One day, a close disciple said, "Rahim Baba, there is one function happening in a nearby village. The whole village and nearby villagers are coming to that function. They all say that it is a function held in the remembrance of a great Sufi saint. He passed away last year. Rahim quickly realized who the Sufi saint was. He started crying. Like a child, he burst out in tears. Never had the disciples seen such a cry. They all were moved. They said, "Why are you crying?" And Rahim said, "The Sufi saint that you mentioned was my Guru, my master. After 40 years, we had come so close to his village, and now comes this news. Let's go. I cannot wait here. Let us go." And Rahim and his followers rushed towards the same village where Rahim had met his master. The same tree, the same lingering fragrance, the same people. But the master was no more. Instead, there was a small shrine built in his remembrance near the same tree where he used to meditate. Rahim rushed towards the shrine. Now there was nobody to say, "I will throw this stone if you come close." Now there was nobody to shower love. Those eyes, how deep were those eyes? How much love was in those eyes? Rahim fell down at the entrance of the shrine. He was about to get up and enter when a very old villager stepped ahead and said, "Rahim Baba, wait." Rahim looked at the villager. His followers also were puzzled. Who is this villager and why he is asking to wait? The old villager brought a beautiful garland made of red roses. Handing it to Rahim, he said, "Bade Baba, the great master, had said that one day my Rahim will come, and when he comes, you provide him with a rose garland. Here it is." The whole village went into silence. Rahim could not control himself. He hugged the old villager. How much the master loved him. Even after 40 years, he remembered him. He was certain that he would come back. Rahim's tears could not stop. The followers could not control themselves. The whole gathering was moved, deeply moved. When you remember and follow the word of the Master also remembers you and directs you every moment of your life, no matter where you are. Rahim followed the word of the Master, and the word was, "Chant the holy name of Lord." Rahim never missed to chant. A time came in his life when there was no need of chanting. He himself had become the chant. There was no need to meditate. He himself had become the meditation. He himself had become the dance. And that is how life should be. A dance, a poem, a beautiful painting. And this is possible only and only when you chant the name of the Lord with love, with devotion, with total surrender. What we hear about the Lord, we should hear with a spirit to serve the Lord. When we chant His name, we should chant so that He is pleased to hear us chanting. That is the beauty of life, the real art of living. No pujas, no havans, no rituals can be of as much help as the chanting of mantra, the name of the Lord. How much does it take to chant? And the answer is 0 rupees or $0. If you need a japamala, then only then you may have to spend a few rupees to buy. That too not more than 100 rupees or $10. In $10, you can attain enlightenment. You can improve the quality of your life. You can overcome the many difficulties of your life. You can bravely face the many miseries of your life and turn them around. You can transform your weakness into your strength. And you say, what miracle can happen with chanting? If this is not the miracle, then what is the miracle? But people are shallow. They don't want to do anything on their own. They just want to spend money and get something quickly. They miss to realize that God is not ready-made. Happiness is not ready-made. Remember, happiness is not something ready-made. It comes from your own actions. Unless you act, unless you start turning inwards, unless you start meditating, unless you start chanting, there is absolutely no chance for real growth. It is only through meditation, it is only through chanting, it is only through love and devotion that you can turn in. You can evolve to the higher realms of consciousness. Remember, you don't know exactly who you are, because to know who you are, you will have to dig deep within yourself through the whole rubbish that has accumulated in the name of personality. You will have to become a child again. That's what is meant when Jesus says, unless you are born again, you cannot understand what I am saying. To be reborn, first you have to die. This death is all of your notions and egos and learning. Until you become an absolute zero, there is no possibility for you to experience the divine, the beyond. That is why whenever I meet a man or a woman who has lost everything, who has fallen to the absolute low, I say to them that this is the opportunity. This is the golden chance. If you cannot evolve through the passage of this fire of suffering, then you have missed. You have simply missed. The fires of suffering become the light of consciousness. Suffering is a blessing in disguise. It brings out the best in you. It helps you to evolve to the next level, the higher consciousness. Suffering has a noble purpose, the evolution of consciousness and the burning up of the ego. Suffering is of the mind. Always remember this. This is significant in many ways. If the mind has some guidance, some direction, then this mind starts turning inwards. It makes you more meditative. You start looking within. You start turning inwards. And the more you do it, the more you start self-realizing the many aspects of your life that otherwise you would have never known. Suffering is the start of a great beginning. The ending is the beginning, and the beginning is the first step, and the first step is the only step. Remember, the end is the beginning of all things, suppressed and hidden, awaiting to be released through the rhythm of pain and pleasure. Life is ever changing. Everything changes except change. Change is constant. Always remember, nothing lasts forever. So when you are going through good times, don't let the ego penetrate into your head. And when you are going through the low phase of life, do not let the feeling of depression and frustration and humiliation slip into your being. The earth is never still. It is rotating, moving, revolving, bringing many experiences to its tenants. happy, sad, crying, laughing. There are many colors to human life. The colors keep changing. Times keep changing. People keep changing. What remains still is yourself, the consciousness. Remain still with the conviction that the self shines as everything, yet nothing within, without, and everywhere, says the Bhagwan. You can remain still only when you still the mind. Chanting the holy mantra helps you to still the mind. Chanting with love and devotion by focusing on your breathing slowly helps you to still the mind. It is a long process, but every human being is fortunate who has begun on this wonderful journey. I must say that to begin with this journey is the greatest blessing one could ever have in his or her life. The nature of the mind is being restless. A man or a woman who follows the mind is always found to be restless, but a man who is meditating, chanting with devotion, slowly starts getting control of the mind. Such a man, such a woman is truly the most fortunate person. They may have nothing, but they are blessed with everything. Always remember, whether we have everything or nothing, if we simply have devotion, we actually have everything. A great fakir once had said, "I am not a beggar, but you all certainly are." And he is absolutely true, because the yogi is never standing in a queue of desires and wants and demands, but people are seen. So then the question arises, who is poor in reality? The naked fakir, the naked yogi, or those who are standing with precious jewelry, golds and diamonds and pearls, and all those attractive expensive robes around them? Who is the real beggar? The question remains, and it remains for all of you, and you have to answer it. Your answer determines the course of your future. Who is the real king? One who has realized his self, or one who is living in palaces? The great fakir says, "You fools, your whole life you have been chasing the fake gold. Time is still there before it gets too late." And he would say to everybody, the question is, who wants to listen? One who wants to listen will find the real gold. He will come back to the source. He will come back home. Many come. They all want to experience God, experience Krishna. But nobody is willing to become Arjuna. It is only when you become Arjuna that you can experience Krishna. It is only when you are ready to surrender yourself in totality that you can experience Krishna. It is only when you can keep your intellect aside, your mind aside, your agreeing and disagreeing aside, that you can let the words of the Master penetrate into your being. And then those words will bring a light unto you. Then the transformation begins. Then the flowering begins. The question is, are you willing to rest your whole life, your whole being at the feet of the Master? Chanting fructifies. Chanting flowers. Chanting manifests into a miracle only when you don't just chant, but chant by surrendering yourself in totality at the feet of the Master. Let there be more love, more affection, more dedication to your chanting, and then there will be a song to it. Then no matter how much noise is on the outside, within you, you are always at peace. in bliss and in the ever flowing joy, and that is the state of Nityananda, eternal joy. Meditate on the Lord's name. Chanting must happen from within, not without. The name of the Lord should penetrate into your heart. The heart is the place where God dwells. The whole journey of human evolution begins from mind, but it has to end in the heart. The heart is the hub of all sacred places. Go there and roam, says the Divine Master, Bhagavan Nityananda of Ganesh Puri. Whole life he spent in helping millions of people find the right direction. One must seek the shortest way and the fastest means to get back home, to turn the spark within into a blaze, to be merged in and to identify with that greater fire which ignited the spark, quotes Bhagavan Nityananda. The shortest way and the fastest means to get back home, to get back to the source, is the way of chanting. But that chanting has to be real, has to be from within. So come you all and chant. Meditate on the name of the Holy Lord. Every morning 20 minutes, every evening 20 minutes, every night 20 minutes before sleeping. If you cannot find 20 minutes for chanting, then the whole life of many million hours goes down the drain. Your 20 minutes of chanting can change, can overcome many difficulties of your life, can help you to evolve into a matured person. Always remember, maturity is not based on age. Maturity is based on how long you have been on the journey within. The only journey is the journey within. When you chant, when you meditate, do it without any expectations, because expectations don't let you flow freely. You are not 100% to the whole. The chanting then cannot flower. The meditation then cannot blossom. Blossoming happens when there are absolutely no expectations. You do it just because you love to. And when there is love, there is a certain fragrance and there is a certain music. Then the knock can be heard. Then the doors can open. Love should be the way, and love has no agenda, absolutely no agenda, and therefore love is beautiful. Love can transform. It is love that leads you to miracles. The answer never completes without love. Life never completes without love. Our whole existence never completes without love. The flowering of love is meditation. Everything comes to a full circle only when there is love. Let there be love to all that you do, and then get ready to experience the greatest miracles of your life. Meditate, chant every day. Jai Sri Ganesha. Jai Guru. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha.